For my music integration project, I chose to do counting by ones, twos, fives, and tens. It is the Indiana Standard for Math 2.1, and it states students understand the relationship among numbers, quantities, and place values in whole numbers up to 100. They understand that fractions may refer to parts of a set and parts of a whole number. So that's just like getting it started. So we don't talk about fractions yet, just the counting part of it. And it's indicator 2.1.1, which, like I said, is count by ones, twos, fives, and tens to 100. And the national music standard that I thought it kind of went with was number 7, which is evaluating music and music performance, because I thought that some of them could apply to it, but kind of evaluating what the music is saying and applying it to their lives, I thought that worked out really well. I chose Down syndrome as my special need to cater to for this lesson plan. Down syndrome is the most common chromosomal abnormality within the world. Students do need to be placed in special needs classrooms at some points, but some do stay in regular ed classrooms, and that's kind of where my lesson plan is, catering to a Down syndrome student, while regular ed students are still in the classroom. Down syndrome causes delays in development and behavior problems, so that they could be a little behind in their development, which could kind of put them behind in class as well. With communication, they could have either an enlarged or shortened tongue, which makes speech kind of hard for them. So communication is really hard for them anyways. They also could experience gradual decline of thinking ability. So it could affect their communication skills even further, like not just being able to talk, but being able to think about what they're saying too. Socially, it is hard for them to handle strong emotions, so sometimes friendships are really difficult for them to handle. And it leads to depression because they don't have a lot of friends that they can talk to. My lesson, I would begin with a motivation, and it would be a song counting all the way to 100, and it's like a fun, upbeat song, and it kind of like gets everybody moving, and it's kind of like the base, since you're counting by twos, fives, tens, it's kind of the base of starting off with 100, and I'll get everybody excited about what we're doing. And then the goal for the learner would be, I would say, we are about to learn more about numbers, but in a very fun way. Who likes to sing? And I would ask everybody that. Everybody would be really excited because elementary schoolers, they love singing. And I would say we're going to be singing everything we learn about math the next few days. By the end of the lesson, we are going to be able to sing 3 different songs about math. We're going to learn about what order numbers can go in and how to count in different ways. It's actually called skip counting, and it's actually kind of cool the way that I'm kind of incorporating it into the lesson. We would go from there, we would go right into the actual lesson, and before we even started singing, I would make sure that the students know more about counting by twos, because you don't want to just be like, oh, here you go, here's a 2. So we would do some fun facts about counting by twos, like it's every other number within the things, because it's 1, skip a number 3, skip a number 5, or 2, skip a number 4, skip a number 6. So it's every other number no matter where you start. And I would kind of apply why it would be important to real life, because the student with Down syndrome, they like to kind of know why it's important before they learn it. They're actually very smart and very intelligent, so they would like to know, like, why am I doing this in the first place? And I think a lot of regular ed students as well would like to know that too before they start to learn. And before I would teach a song, I would go through just some exercises. Like, I would have a board with like magnets on it, with numbers as well that like are attached to it. And we would go through, and I would ask them, like, okay, if we start with 2, what number would be next? And they would say 4, so we would take the 3 off and kind of go through the numbers magnetically. And we could also count them. So if let's say in my lesson plan, I put 10 pairs of mittens on the board, like just hung them up on those little clips, and they would be able to count, oh, well, there's 10 mitten pairs, but how many are there altogether? And we'd be able to say 2, 4, 6, and be able to count that way. So it's kind of relating it back to real life, not just saying it can be related to, but actually related to it. And then we would go to the song. I would have them listen to it, and then we would start to sing it all together. And I think the song that I chose enhances the lesson a lot because it gets them up and moving and not just sitting there kind of just like memorizing the words. It gets them up, gets them clapping, stomping, and eventually we would add in like body motions to every like couple, like every 2 you would do this, every 4 you would do this, and it would be really fun and upbeat, so they would actually be able to visualize what they're doing too, because students with Down syndrome really do need that like visual connection as well, because anybody with a special need, they're very visual people, so having that visual aid will really help them. And all right, I will start to teach myself. Here is the song at the very first part. So everybody will be able to stand up.
Get up.
And you'll see the monkey go
Get
up
down.
and down on the tree. And
Get up.
Stand up.
Get down. We're gonna count by 2s. Me and you. All the numbers will be even. That is just what we do. We're gonna take both hands. We're gonna take both feet. We're gonna clap our hands and stomp our feet to the beat. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
Okay. And it goes to 50, and then it like cheers because like you got through 50, and then it'll go through them 2 to 100 the next time. So that's kind of what they would hear. And then next, I would make sure everybody was clapping or snapping or stomping the beat in some way. And then I would get ready to like teach them the words, because they would want to know the words before they would do the 2, 4, 6, 8. So everybody would do the motions like get up, get down, get up, get down, then start the clapping. So clap, clap, and then get up, get down, and I would keep the beat. Get up, get down. We're gonna count by 2s, me and you. All the numbers will be even. That's just what we do. We're gonna take both hands. We're gonna take both feet. We're gonna clap our hands and stomp our feet to the beat. So we would go over that a few times. And then we would listen to the 2, 4, 6, 8 all the way through 50 and 100 a few times. That way they would be able to visualize it first, because I think visually seeing the words and the numbers will help them be able to picture it together. But it doesn't say, though, we're going to count by 2s, me and you, all together, like on the screen. So it would be something that I'd be able to teach them. All right. Some of the accommodations I've already talked about. They would be to obviously be lots of visuals, lots of interactive things. They're physical and visual learners. So a lot of hands-on things, actually relating it back to real life, because that helps. And something that I thought of was always walking around the classroom whenever you don't have to be in the front, like writing on the board or something, because that way you can make sure everybody is paying attention as well. But if somebody has a question, they can ask, and they feel more comfortable with you because you're kind of one of them and not always in front of them. Also, if they get into groups, like I have the kids getting into groups of 2 whenever we talk about 2s, 5s, when we talk about 5s, and 10s when they talk about 10s. And with that, they would first do like a get to know you thing. Like everybody introduce yourself like you don't know who each other, like who anybody is. And then they would like say their favorite color, or their favorite food, or their favorite subject in school, just so they would get to know everybody better, because someone with Down syndrome feels like they don't have any friends, like I said before. So getting to know the people and feeling comfortable in their environment, that will help so much. Just feeling comfortable in your learning environment can help somebody, anyone. So imagine the comfort level if you actually knew somebody as a Down syndrome student. So making them feel comfortable would be the main goal. And then I also have relating it back to the real world is one of the biggest ones, because that way they know why they're learning it and what's going on. And I think that's it. My lesson plan and I did lesson plan and paragraphs. I went through all of the songs and all of the little details. So